Hi triathletes, welcome back to another episode with Triathletes. We'll be having the third interview of the series of 5 interviews with experts, so stay tuned as we have an interview with Dewald from Event 81, who's also a trail runner and would share his knowledge with us. So if you like the content of this channel, please go and subscribe to my channel up here. Also hit the bell notification to be notified if new videos are being released. Welcome Dewald. Would you please be so kind and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do?
So I'm Dewald van Niekerk. I'm the co-owner of Event 81. We're a sports shop in Potchefstroom, specializing in running and swimming and all kinds of other sporting gear. I'm also an avid ultra trail runner, and for my day job I'm a professor at Northwest University.
Thank you so much. And the next question, Dewald, can you please give us some tips and advice for people starting out in running?
My advice for people starting out in running, I think first and foremost is you need to decide, why do you want to do this? What is your specific goal? Do you want to run a specific distance? Are you training for something specific, for a race that you want to do maybe? Is this part of a multi-sport program, like maybe triathlon that you're engaging in? Do you just want to try something new? I think it's important that you set very specific goals for yourself. And it's also fine just to run. It's a very primal thing to do. And it's a wonderful way of cleaning your head and spending time in nature and outside doors. I think something that we all would appreciate doing currently under lockdown. What's also important, I think, is to set yourself a program and to decide to do it quite regularly. Many people fail when they start out running, because after day 2 they ache, they are sore, everything hurts. They decide it's not for them, they want to stop. 2 weeks later they try it again and they're into the same problem of aching legs and muscles, and then they stop again. And I've seen this many times, people start the whole time. So it's very important to set yourself a program, to say, well, I'm going to run 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. These are the type of distances that I want to do. This is the type of program I'm going to follow. And if you're starting out, take it easy. There's no sin in walking. I'm a trail runner, so we've got a saying that it's fine to walk. And many roadies believe that if you catch someone walking on the road, that's like a sin, you're going straight to hell. It's not. It's fine to walk. And I think when you start off, is to start with a gradual program. Maybe choose a distance, let's say 3 kilometers, where you maybe walk 500 meters, jog 500 meters, walk another 500 meters, and gradually get yourself into running. If you start off too early, you're going to sustain injuries, you're not going to like it, and you're going to feel that this is a major chore.
Thank you, Dewald. I also agree with you. If someone starts out running, they should first determine why they are running, so they can get a program to get them focused and also to keep them accountable in what they need to do every day. My advice would also be to start small and to start slow, and then build up gradually until you can run continually. The 10% rule would apply, so do not increase your total distance with more than 10% a week. Also, incorporate run-walking strategy if you start out running. That will be a great way to keep you motivated and also see that improvement that you need without getting any injuries when you start out running. And the next question, do you perhaps have some tips and advice for people that have been running a while and are stuck at a certain pace and want to see improvement in their running?
So what advice and tips can I give you if you're stuck in a certain pace or that you want to improve? Remember, the most important thing about running is not the running itself. Yes, that gets you better, it gets you to a different level. But if you don't work on the foundational stuff, you are going to fail in achieving your goals. So I think first of all, working on your strength, your core strength is essential. If you can get that right, you will see your running is going to improve quite significantly. Working on stuff like leg strength, flexibility, these are all the things that we as runners neglect. That's the last thing you want to do. I mean, if you've got a chance, you'll put on your tackies and you'll go run. but you need to make space in your program to incorporate those very important things. Stretch decently before the time, and very important to stretch afterwards as well. One of my friends, a Frenchman living in New Zealand, we've run together quite a lot, and he's got this routine where he says he's running, or the specific portion of running that he's doing that day ends after he's finished with his stretches. And I found that if you do this and you have a routine of stretching after you've stopped running, it certainly helps you a lot to recover much more quicker, and it adds to your overall strength. What I think is also important is to look at your overall running program, and to determine what type of different exercises do I need to include in what part of my program. For instance, intervals, you can do pyramid intervals, you can include something like tempo runs. Very important is to do hill training at least once a week or once every 2 weeks, a few decent sets on the hills, and then also to do those sets like your tempo and your interval runs on hills. I think that's very important to build the strength. And also what you can do is just choose a shorter distance on which you can test yourself on a weekly basis. For instance, a timed run at your local club, or maybe the park run. And then you say to yourself, well, this is the distance I want to test myself every week, and I want to see, can I run that faster, better, feel better after I finished it. Maybe find yourself a coach. My coach is Neville Beaton. How's it, Neville? Love you to bits. He's one of the best coaches, I would say, in South Africa, and he works on a recovery-based program. And that means that you train, you don't overtrain, obviously. You train for let's say 2 blocks in a week, which maybe would be Tuesday, Wednesday and a Thursday, and then a Saturday and Sunday session, but then you take time off to recover. And you can do that by, for instance, a Monday doing other type of core and strength work, taking off a Friday, and using those 2 blocks to bring in different types of exercise within your routine.
Thank you so much. I think we all dread hill running and interval running, but that is what will make us better runners. Also, that we should incorporate the 80% 20% rule, as I've spoken earlier in some of my videos, that we should run slow a lot of the time, and then also run fast a little bit of the time. That's the only way we can see improvement in our running. And then the next question, how many times a week do you think someone should be running?
Okay, so how many times a week should one run? The amount of running depends on your goals that you want to achieve. Are you doing shorter distances? Are you looking at your 10, 15Ks? Are you running half marathons? Are you running marathons? Are you doing ultras? And that's all going to determine how much you need to run. And it also depends on what other types of sports you are doing. If you're doing triathlon, you've got 2 other sports you need to be paying attention to. So beside doing your bricks, I think that at least getting out there 2 to 3 times a week and doing quality sessions is very, very important. Remember, you would know quite well, the ones where you can catch people on is on the running, especially if you can get those times down. On the bike you can do as much, in the swimming you can't do so much, but where you can make up a lot of time is in the running. And most people, unfortunately, that's really good at triathlons are also very good runners. So I think that's where you probably need to be aiming your effort in. So how many times a week? If you're a runner, as I said, 5 times a week max. I know in the old days, and Bruce Fordyce's days, the ultra runners used to run 7 days a week. I think the new knowledge that we have dictates around about 5 days, having 2 days off, maybe a Monday and a Friday to rest, and using your training blocks to do your runs. What I do is I've got my interval training and my other types of training on a Tuesday, Wednesday and a Thursday, hill training and so on, and then longer runs on a Saturday and a Sunday. Sometimes it could be back-to-back long runs, or it could be one long run and then just a bit of a shorter run. But what is important is to know that you need to build 5 things. I think to be a better runner, you need to be focusing on your speed. You need to be looking at your stamina, you need to be looking at your strength, you need to be looking at your endurance. So the 4 things. And if you work on those things and you start with your building blocks, as the first foundational block being your endurance, and working this up into your VO2 max and into speed, you will become a much better runner. There's no use starting off trying to run as fast as you possibly can. You're just setting yourself up for failure and you're going to get some injuries. But as you gradually build from a foundation of endurance up to speed, I used to run so fast that I can't hold a conversation with anyone close to me. And it felt good, it felt nice running so fast, but it added absolutely no value to me as a long distance runner. And I had to totally learn to tap back and to run slower, and it was extremely frustrating because my body was used to a certain type of pace. And when I started doing this, I've started to feel much better on the longer distances. And that's the only way you can succeed in running longer distances, is obviously to pace yourself and to run at a much more slower, relaxed pace and enjoy the running. I mean, if you run and you can't even breathe, you're not probably enjoying the surroundings so much as you have to.
Thank you so much. I think we should first try and figure out what type of sport we're into, and then that will determine how many times a week we are running, and also not go and look at running 30-40 years ago, as there's lots of research being done and there's lots of new ways that you can run and still see improvement with not running 7 days a week. And the next question, what benefit do you think road runners can have from doing some trail running?
What are the benefits of trail running when you add that to your normal running? Well, I totally moved away from road running when I discovered trail running, for the simple reason is I'm a nature person. I love to be out there, and I found that doing trail running just is my thing. I don't like slogging it out on a road. I found that my body doesn't cope well with that same kind of tempo, same kind of surface that you run on the whole time. I got a lot of injuries running like that, and when I moved over to trail running, it changed it a bit because you're running on uneven terrain. The terrain is quite different. You use different muscle groups. You strengthen your ankles, your calves and your quads, and so quite a lot, because you are climbing a lot and you're descending on difficult terrain. And what I found the interesting part is that in trail running I'm much more tuned with my body than running on road, because on road it's like the same type of running you're doing, the same type of exercise. You kind of need to keep yourself busy. When you do trail running, you have to concentrate, you have to know what your body's doing, you have to think, where I'm putting my foot down, what will happen, what if I roll my ankle, what am I going to do? Otherwise you're going to injure yourself. So in trail running you're much more in tune with what your body is saying. And I think the benefit of that, to add that, not to only do that, but to add that to your normal running schedule, is that it would work different muscle groups and you will become stronger, and you will become a much better runner when you do that.
Thank you for that answer, Dewald. I think we all should try and incorporate some trail running into our normal running, as then we'll see some different scenery, and that will also strengthen some muscles that we don't usually train when we are running out on the road. And the next question pertains to running shoes. What type of running shoes do you think people should use running, and also how often should they replace them?
So can you run in any shoes, and how often do you need to be replacing your running shoes? Well, I won't take a Volkswagen Beetle into a Formula 1 race. I think the same way you need to decide, or you would probably know what is the sport that you are doing. Different types of running requires different types of shoes, different type of makeup of people's bodies, the way that you strike, whether you're pronating or whether you're a neutral runner. How heavy are you? What type of distances do you run? What type of terrain do you run? This all depends on what type of shoes that you would be needing. Your local sports shop can obviously advise you on that. I mean, there's so many different opinions on this. The main thing is what is comfortable for you. That's the most important thing, because if you're going to spend hours in a shoe, at least let the thing be comfortable. And how long do you need to run in a shoe? Well, the rule of thumb is anything between 800 and 1,000 kilometers. But once again, it depends on how heavy you are. what type of terrain do you run? I mean, I've had shoes for 300 kilometers, then they trashed, and I had to replace them. If you're doing normal road running, you can go much further if you look after your shoes. If you know, like say to your children, wash your shoes, keep them clean and grit and all those type of things free. It's going to last you much longer. Some people believe that you need 2 pairs of shoes, which you rotate 1 week or 1 day one day the others, or per week or so. You can do that as well. Obviously they're going to last much longer if you do that. If you're doing trail running and road running, obviously you need a pair of shoes for both types of terrain. It's not very wise to take a road shoe into the bush. You're going to slip, you're going to hurt yourself, and it's not made for that. You're going to just destroy your shoes.
Thanks a lot. I think most people think that they can just go and run in any shoe, but they should buy a shoe specifically for what type of running they're doing. If they're a trail runner, buy a trail running shoe. If they're a road runner, buy a road running shoe. And if they're a sprinter, they should buy sprinting shoes. And then the last question, what tips and advice can you give to people regarding running during this lockdown period?
How can people stay fit during lockdown if they don't have a treadmill or so? Well, I think there's a lot you can do around your house. There's a lot of initiatives in running a few shorter distances, completing a marathon during lockdown. There's these other crazy nutcases from Fresh Trails, Iluf and Frikkie, and they've started a backyard ultra challenge. So some of us have run ultras around our house. There's people that's done 100 milers. Peter Purchase, one of our other friends and athletes, did 212 kilometers, if I remember correctly, around his house already in one go. So there's all these type of nutty things you can do. But I think for the normal person is just try and work in some kind of exercise on a daily basis. I think if you're like me, you're working many more hours currently at home than you would in the office. And it's important to take that break, to get into a routine of when do you want to exercise, at least do it once a day. You can do quite a lot of things. If you can't do it on your own, these online Pilates and yoga classes that you can tune into. You can find them on YouTube. There's a lot that you can do in your home gym using your furniture, working with your own body weight to do strength training and so on. So there's quite a lot. And I think what's very, very important, what I do with my family at least 2-3 times a week, is just get everyone together and just do decent stretch sessions. Because sitting around at home, I think that's the killer of us all.
Thank you so much for your time, Dewald. I really appreciate it, and thank you for sharing your knowledge with us as well. And then before we finish off, Dewald, if someone wants to get in touch with you or with Event 81, how can they reach you guys?
So how can you reach us? Well, we've got a website, event81.co.za. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. Or you can give us a call on the shop phone on 0724483125. And I hope to see you guys in the shop soon.
Thank you so much, Dewald. If you want to check out Event 81, you can find all of the details in the description below. Also stay tuned for the last 2 videos in the series of 5 where we'll be having interviews. Also, if you like this channel, please go and subscribe to the channel up here. Also go and join my Facebook group and Instagram on Triathlon Tessa, and then you can also go and check out the website at www.triathlontessa.com. So keep up the training during this lockdown period and stay motivated, and then I'll see you guys soon.